Seville Row in London is considered by a lot of people to be the menswear capital of the world, and it's a good place to know about and a good cluster of brands to know about as a men's clothing reseller, because although it's not as important as it used to be, it's still some of the highest dollar suits that you can get. Seville Row is where bespoke menswear was born. That's where the term was invented. Seville Row started in the mid-1700s. It was very important until around the 80s, maybe earlier, maybe a little bit earlier. Like mid to late 20th century is when it kind of lost a little bit of its shine. But for many, many, many years, this was the menswear place of highest prestige. So I'm going to go through all of the brands that I could find. Brand and tailor are synonymous here a lot of the time, because these suit makers would make these bespoke suits from scratch by hand. A lot of them still do, not all of them. Bespoke means fully custom. So you would go and you get measured. You would have 3 different drafts of the suit. You'd have to come in to get remeasured and have the suit modified. And then by the end of it, you would have a perfectly tailored, hopefully very expensive suit that was just for you. And the resale market on some of these suits is still really strong. So I'm going to go through every single brand on eBay, and we're going to learn together what is really good and what is not so good. I just kind of blasted through a little bit of research and found these brands. So let's take a look at them. The first one is Gives. Oh, no. This is Seville Row Bespoke, generally. You have to be careful with Seville Row, and this is how you spell it, S-A-V-I-L-E. Because some brands will use Seville Row, will appropriate it as a marketing term, and it's not actually from Seville Row. Seville Row, as I'm showing you here, is a real place. A lot of these tailors have been around for a long time. So a proper Seville Row suit is from Seville Row in London. Let me zoom out. There it is, there's London. And here we are, Seville Row. Just because a suit says Seville Row on the tag doesn't mean it's necessarily from Seville Row. You want it to be from England or to be one of these recognizable brands. So the sell-through on Seville Row Bespoke is around 50%, as I recall it. Let's double check. 136 sold, and around 260, 270. So not bad. And if you take a gander at these prices, they're fairly healthy. There's one for 450, 250, not even looking at the brands, almost 600, almost 600. These are not all going to be Grand Slams like this, but a lot of these brands are really strong. Davies & Son is the first. This, I believe, is one of the older ones. There have been like multiple generations of bespoke tailors in Seville Row, so my chronology might be a little bit off. So 6 solds for Davies & Son. See, bespoke, 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 powerful keyword. And these are good prices. These are really good prices for used suits. Even $200-300. That's, in my experience, for most of the suits that you will find at Goodwill's is good. That's a very good price. So pretty healthy. As you can see, the numbers are limited. These are not going to be J.Crew. These are not going to be Suit Supply or anything close. These are going to be a rare find. All of these are going to be rare finds. But if you know enough of them, they become less rare. Are you going to find these at thrift stores? Potentially, yes, actually. I have found one of these brands. You're more likely to find them, I think, at estate sales. That would be my guess. Next one is Gives & Hawkes. If you look at the sold prices for dress shirts, that is a great canary in the coal mine for dress shirts with not that great of photos, selling for 60, 70 bucks. You will see also a lot of these are shipping from the UK, so they are not going to be as common stateside, but you can still find them. In fact, I think I have found Gives & Hawkes one time before. Let's take a look at the tag. I have found this. I have found this before. Number 1, Seville Row, London. The sell-through is, again, decent. The reason I'm scanning down here instead of just going by this number is that they're almost always different. And sorting highest to lowest, these prices can get up there. So not sure what these went for because these are best offers. This one went for 750 plus for Laura Piana Gives and Hawks men's gray herringbone wool suit. 400, 300, 400, 300. Maurice Sedwell is, I think if memory serves, one of the older ones. A lot of these are going to be pretty rare, but again, they're worth knowing, even if distantly in the back of your head somewhere, because look at the prices. This one went for probably, I don't know, between 70, 80 bucks, I would guess. Seville Row, London. That is what you're looking for, Seville Row, London. And that's a pinstripe suit jacket, which typically don't sell. So something like this, if you were to go in and price one of these suits for 150, 100 bucks, you may be able to flip that in a month or less. A month or less is very fast for a suit flip. This was often my strategy, selling suits in kind of slow markets like this. You could price it, well, I don't want this video to be too interminably long, but I think there's two approaches here. Well, there's infinite approaches. Two interesting ones to think about are the quick flip of pricing it really cheap, and then there's the deceptively long/short tail strategy of pricing to the moon, pricing really high, which to certain buyers seems to confer not only more value, but a little bit more trust, because if you have it in your head that you're willing to spend 500 bucks on a suit, and let's say this Maurice Sedwell brand to you should be worth around 500 bucks. If you see one priced at 250, there's a voice in your head potentially telling you that there's something wrong with the suit. I learned this strategy from good old Rick from Thrift Fever. I learned a lot of this from Rick at Thrift Fever, who you probably haven't watched maybe. He no longer does YouTube videos and he took his videos down. One of my all-timer favorites, but he would specialize in menswear, and that's how he would sell a lot of his stuff. He wouldn't go by comps. He wouldn't look, he didn't care about the prices that other people listed at. He, at least for a length of time when he was YouTubing, would just price all the way at the top of the market really ambitiously and would sell them relatively quickly. I think that that is a phenomenon that's kind of special to suits or higher end luxury goods. H. Huntsman Sons is one of the old Seville Row brands. As you can see, it's kind of, let's do this, minus boots. So there was some hunting boots that were kind of mixed in there with it. 5 to 14-ish. You know, that's again pretty good for a suit brand, especially a vintage suit brand. Very rare to find suits or suit-specific brands that have anywhere close to 100% sell-through. Prices are kind of all over the map, as you can see, almost 2,000. Who knows what this went for? 300, 300, 300, 210, and then like 50 bucks probably. So a big spread of what's possible there. And let's find a tag. H. Huntsman and Sons, Seville Row, London. Welsh and Jeffries, 4 sold, 71 active, so pretty slow. Pretty slow. Pretty good prices though. That is a window pane plaid, looks like a tweed suit, yep. And is there a tag? Nope. This is one of the tells that it may be a bespoke suit. Another one, I don't know if I'll be able to show you, is it's not necessarily that it's bespoke, but it may be higher quality if when you lift up this collar, oftentimes usually there is a panel underneath it that's a different fabric, and you can tell on the seam of that different fabric if the stitching is very even. That means it's machine stitched most likely. And the really nice suit makers, often you can tell it's a single stitch and it's uneven. You can tell it was stitched by hand. That's a great tell that a suit will be potentially bespoke, potentially worth some very good money. Cad and the Dandy is still in business. As you can tell, some of these listings are new, not pre-owned. And as you can tell, very expensive stuff. Here's $500+ suit. With a lot of suit brands, more modern cuts or more modern manufacturers will be worth more money. Look at these prices, these are great. 5.6 healthy sell-through. Cad and the Dandy, and it says bespoke right there, no doubt. No doubt. Henry Poole, I also think is still around. 94 to 52. So this is one of the exceptions. This is one of the brands that is over 100% sell-through. It looks like roughly 200%. And another great indicator, look, 85 bucks sold price for a tuxedo dress shirt. Look at some of these prices. I mean, $700. It's a masterpiece. Vintage Henry Poole, Seville Row. Sport cut. That's not even a full suit. Let's look at this listing. I think this would probably catch your eye if you saw it at a Goodwill. And if that didn't occur to you, then this kind of thing should catch your eye. You'll develop, after selling suits for a while, a sense of what is kind of standard aesthetics and what is not. This red plaid on, that's a houndstooth, like beige and black base, I guess you could call it. That's very unusual. Henry Poole, Cork Street, London, Seville Row. I think some of the Seville Row tailors moved to Cork Street at one point. I remember reading that on the Wikipedia page. Norton and Sons, looks like they collaborate with Barber. Not a Seville Row brand, but Barber is generally strong. That's in the Menswear Manifesto. If you dig this, check out the Menswear Manifesto. It's my Bolo guide to 401 men's clothing brands, 451 if you also get the supplement, which is an additional 50 clothing brands broken down by sell-through rate and price on eBay. I did all the research by hand myself. People love it. It's pay what you want. If it's gonna make you money, which it will, I encourage you to please throw me something for it because it will absolutely pay for itself, and link to both of those is down in the description. Norton and Sons, looks like it's still in business, and they use these safety orange hits on at least these two pieces, which is really interesting. This one went for $800. My God, for this thing. This maybe looks like a runway piece. Norton and Sons. Oh, this is vintage. Don't you think? That's woven leather buttons. Another teachable moment. You see how the buttons actually button? Those are called surgeon's cuffs or working surgeon's cuffs. Another thing that I learned from Thrift Fever. Another tell that a jacket or a suit may be worth above average money because this is more expensive to manufacture, and the big suit manufacturers, the big fast fashion brands or people that mass produce suits simply don't do this. They make the ornamental buttons that are just stuck on. They're sewn on the outside. You can't unbutton them. And those are good keywords to include in your titles if you can get away with it, if you have the room to spare. Richard James, I think, is still in business. 121 to 316. That is not, wow, that is way off. So let's just do pre-owned, make it simple. God, these numbers are so different. 212 to 77 solds and pre-owned condition. Looks like the prices are not as strong. You know, probably 15 bucks total for that. Richard James. That's decent. Let's search high to low. Oh, Richard James is the name of Aphex Twin. I forgot that. So different Richard James. That's a cool shirt though. 350 bucks. Wow. Kind of cool. Richard James, 200 to 300 bucks. Looks like it is kind of the limit. This is maybe on the lower end of value for these Seville Row brands. And this is not vintage. Seville Row Richard James. Made in, it looks like, is that Japanese? The Seville Row Company is not very expensive stuff. It is technically a Seville Row brand, like a proper one from Seville Row. I think these are mass manufactured though at this point. As you can tell, the prices are pretty poor, so to speak. Let's see. A brand new suit for what, 150, something like that. So as you can tell, really not the best. Show you the brands. I think I would run into this and not even pick it up. Seville Row Company. Steed. As you can see, it's kind of polluted. Let's go to the solds. No solds. Let's try Steed Seville Row. All right, so that works a little better. 3 actives looks like, and 1 sold for 80 bucks. Maybe not the best one. Anyway, there it is. Steed Seville Row, London. And Peel is, I found this on the map. I don't know if this is like a proper Seville Row brand, but it was on the Seville Row map and the numbers were really good, so I included it here. It's a cashmere brand. Good sell through there. And almost 900 bucks for this hoodie. Or no, that's a fur jacket. Fur coat. Yeah, good brand. Oswald Botang is now out of business tailor who was apparently very important in the history of Seville Row. The demand is not that great, but if you find it, if it's the right piece, it could be worth decent money. 200, 300 bucks for a suit. Here's this shirt. High Batman collar, that's bizarre. I have never seen that collar before. Batman collar? Wow. John Clothier. Oswald. Interesting, there's probably some history there. Timothy Everest. Let's see, that looks about right. 30-ish to 200-ish. Sell through not very good. Another one with potential though, 370 bucks for, doesn't even say, is that a suit or jacket? Just a bunch of blacked out navy photos. Oh, it's a suit, 2-piece suit. That's a wild tag. Timothy Everest. Let's try to find another tag. This one's 300 bucks. I guess that is the brand tag. I would never know that. I would never, well, there's that. Timothy Everest Bespoke. And I guess that this floral decoration is also a tell. So sell-through is low, but the prices are high. This is also the picture with the majority of the big famous luxury brands. Like if you look at Balmain or May or whatever, oftentimes it's like between 5 to 15% sell-through on a brand level, but the pieces that do sell can sell for over $1,000. So with the really higher end clothing like this, don't be scared off necessarily by low sell-through rate. Hardy Amy's, I think I remember, is still around. Another one with not that great of sell-through. Prices are okay. Here's a 2-piece suit for not that much, not that much. This one does not look as promising. But let's do high to low. Yeah, this one looks not as good. Like if you found this for 10 bucks, it would be still worth picking up. Hardy Amy's of London. If it's something weird like this weird multicolored plaid, yellow, green, navy blue. Kilgore, French and Stanbury. Another old brand. Sell-through is okay. Prices are okay. 200, almost 400 bucks. Kilgore. There's one of the tags at least. Dej Skinner. Strong prices, I think, it appears. Bunch of best offers. 0 results in menswear, so it looks like very high sell-through potentially on this. Including results, don't include results for Edge Skinner. Terrifying phrase. Okay, so when we remove Edge Skinner, magically now there are active comps. Still healthy sell-through, still pretty good numbers. That one's gone. Okay, this is just cursed. Two-piece suit staged in front of somebody's shed. Dage Seville Row. There's the tag. Scabble. 34, 108. Decent. Yeah, decent-ish. It's okay. There's the tag. Scabble Golden Leaf. Richard Anderson. 280. Yeah, healthy prices on those suits. Sell-through is okay. This is very polluted with t-shirts and stuff. I think that's a pretty good sell-through. Richard Anderson, Seville Row. Made in England. Anything that you find made in England is worth looking up. Chester Berry, 80 versus 204. There's a good one. Looks like another kind of middle of the road brand. Chester Berry, Seville Row. If you see this, like the Saks Fifth Avenue tag, if you see tags from department stores, oftentimes those will be the lower end suits. The proper bespoke suits will be made in-house by these brands. Doesn't mean that you can't resell it for decent money, but it's typically just a little bit more common. Jeff Banks, 217 to way over 500, 800 something. This is a weird one because it's mostly underwear. Let's do minus underwear. 206V, about the same. I think this is going to be way lower end. Not great. This one may be skippable. There was another suit for like 50 bucks. Let's see. Tops out at under 150 bucks. This one may be worth avoiding. Studio Jeff Banks. Yeah, maybe avoid that one. Gaziano Girling. Oh, this is a shoe brand. I was going to X out of this one, but since we're here, 23 brand 23 sold to 91. No, more like 130. Look at the prices on these shoes. I used to sell shoes as well, and these really nice menswear, the formal shoes, like the leather shoes, it's a great niche. Those and sneakers are probably the strongest shoe niches, but everybody is competing on sneakers, and nobody is competing on formal shoes, or certainly not nearly as many. You're only competing with other resellers, not with everybody in the universe. And you can find used formal shoes that are in this price range, you know, over 200 bucks, more often than you think if you're in the right area. Anderson and Shepard. Oh, this was one of the good ones. I remember this one. Look at this, over 100 bucks for a dress shirt. That is new. 325 bucks for a coat, a tweed coat. 500. I remember the sell-through rate being good. 36 to 66. That's not bad. It is a little higher in reality than 66, but that's pretty solid. This is definitely a win. Look at that one. That is new. Almost looks like Montclair with that tag. I mean, if you saw that, you would look it up, right? I would hope. Anderson and Shepard airmail. That looks like a travel jacket of some kind. I think that's women's. I'm not sure. Work jacket. Yeah, if you see Anderson and Shepard, it's probably worth it. Nutter's Seville Row. In all of my research, this kept popping up, Nutter's Seville Row. Apparently it was a very important tailor at one point, but it's only got that one comp on all of eBay. It is for nearly 300 bucks. So if you find this, it may be worth it. This is a pinstripe suit, which may explain why it hasn't sold that well, or hasn't sold. Pinstripe suits tend to not sell as well as solid color suits. Chittleborough, look at these prices, over 700, over 400. And the sell-through is not spectacular, but it's certainly not bad. There is demand for it. Yeah, that's pretty inconspicuous. If you saw that in a Goodwill, that doesn't scream money to me. More surgeon's cuffs. That one even has a broken button. That's something to look out for. Still sold for over 700 bucks. Amazing. Pre-owned, pristine condition. William Hunt, 44 to 344 or more. Another low sell-through brand. Not loving these prices. Here's the one for 200 something. So there's potential here. A lot of it's selling for nothing. Some of it's selling for over 200. Some brands are just like this. William Hunt, Seville Row. You can't zoom in on it for some reason. Whitcomb and Shaftesbury. 2 or 3 solds, 5-ish actives. Another small one, but you know, decent numbers. Sell-through is not terrible. Pinstripe suit. Specially handmade, that's bespoke. Whitcomb and Shaftesbury, London. Another one that I think if you were just going by your naked eye, if you didn't know about the Seville Row thing, the London connection, this might slip right past you as just some crappy vintage wool suit with the ugly pinstripes. But again, if you know the tells, Kent and Kerwin, clearly still around making rugby shirts and such. 129, 200, look, that looks like more like 400. Even the pre-owned stuff is going for decent money. 50 to 100 bucks average, looks like. They make all kinds of stuff. Yeah, this is very solid. This is almost more like just a standard menswear brand. I don't even know if they do suits. Let's search high to low. That is high to low. So it tops out pretty fast. These rose shirts seem popular. Kent and Kerwin. See if there's a close-up. Yeah, good tag to know. Eid Ravenscroft. This got mentioned in the Wikipedia article. I don't know if it's a proper Seville Row brand, but the numbers were very good. Looks 80-ish actives and about 30 solds. Not bad. And these prices are pretty good. 50 bucks for a shirt. There's the tag, Eid and Ravenscroft, founded 1689. Wow. That looks not vintage to me. Yeah, that is not vintage. Meyer and Mortimer, there's this one active for $290. I don't think there were any solds. Herringbone jacket. Meyer Mortimer. Sackville Street, that's another street that is tied intimately with Seville Row somehow. Anthony Sinclair, another teeny tiny little brand. Look at the sold prices. Look at the active prices. That's 600 pounds, which was what, 800 US? Oh, that's right. This is the James Bond brand. Any brand that made clothing for one of the old James Bond movies, or just probably James Bond movies, period, tend to be worth good money. That might be an interesting video to do, actually, because there's a bunch of these brands. And if you can find like the actual suit that the Bang Bang Shoot 'em Up man wore in the movie, then people who like to LARP as the Bang Bang Shoot 'em Up man will give you like $1,000 for the right suit. And there is a bunch of those. I don't remember them off the top of my head, but maybe I can research them. So this is one of them. Goldfinger, barleycorn tweed jacket. This is tweed. Tweed is like the really scratchy wool with the thick yarn. There's the tag. And then last one, Cyril Castle. I think this is another one that had no solds. Yep. So if you find tweed stuff, if you find brightly colored, like weird plaids, if you find anything that is vintage from England or from Seville Row, at the very least, look it up. And there's a good chance that you could sell something like that for a couple to 500 bucks pre-owned on eBay. Are you going to find this stuff very often? No, absolutely not. But Every little piece of information counts, and if you get the right piece that connects with the right little tidbit that you learned here, could make you a lot of money. The more of those tidbits you have, the more often that lightning will strike. Hope you learned something, and I'll see you on the next one.